Good evening, free enterprise friends, and welcome back to Highway to the Threemus Zone. My name is Pixel Tamer, and I am joined by Motos. How are you doing tonight?
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm pretty hype about this match between Dathus and dustygriff. As you can all see, thanks to our great tournament UI here, Dathus is coming in at a 0-2, so he needs to stay afloat here. He's really looking for a win. Dustygriff, meanwhile, has been a little bit ahead in the schedule and has 5 wins. Beating Dathus today for Dusty will result in a clean sweep of this table stage.
That's right, but on the other hand, we have the People's Champion. Dathus fought through 24 runners in order to make it in through the second play-in race of the hook route. So, he may be down, but he's not out yet.
That's true.
Joining us behind the scenes, we've got Groundflyer doing the restream, and Commander Leonhardt pushing the buttons, making things light up. I just noticed our lovely objectives. Thanks for that. But we've got Kane, we've got some key item objectives, we've got a nice distribution. What do you think is going to happen?
You know, I do really like to see at least one moon objective because it forces the seed to be longer and it forces the players to strategize more about which objectives they actually want to go for. As a side note, I do like Dathus' naming scheme here for his characters.
Yes, we were told that this is inspired by Darkest Dungeon.
Interesting here. So the Murasame altar is not the worst moon spot to have to get, but super cannon, just need a tower key there, just need a package to burn mist. So we're looking at not a super key item heavy, we just need moon access and 2 other key items and they could be done.
As you said, Murasame altar is not hard. It's also pretty fast to get to. I think it's probably the fastest of the lunar boss locations to reach once you've raised the lunar whale.
Yeah, so in the best case scenario for our runners today, they don't need any more key items by the time they get to the moon and don't have to dive the rest of the moon bosses. Of course, that's not guaranteed by any means. There's quite a lot of key item density on the moon, and you know, there are 4 key items we're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. You could get... Yeah, you're going to need 4 key items no matter what, because you're going to need the package or the tower key, you're going to need to get underground, you're going to need to get to the moon. Yeah, this is not going to be a jet seed.
As you said before, the Kane start is pretty nice. Kane, if you're going to get stuck with a physical attacker, because mage parties are heavily favored in these flags, Kane is great because he can wear a wide variety of equipment and his HP growth is quite good. So he can really carry you in the mid to late game as far as your damage goes.
We see Edward as our starting character, and the part of Baigan is being played by Karate Man.
Well, I do not believe we will be seeing anyone take this Edward at the moment. Might grab him later if he has a use and they have the party slots available, because of course we do have perma-join. Once these parties are full up, there's no more replacements. And a Twin Harp coming out from the beginning. We'll have to see if either of our players decide to chase that before they find underground access.
Yeah, music is a lengthy check, but definitely made it easier if you get access to a character with exit to at least make the slog out of Cave Magnus go faster.
Yeah, we have found there's 2 things in these table flags that really we are looking for. The almighty character in this case is Tella to get early weak access, and the almighty key item is the Darkness Crystal, both for the moon access for one of the objectives, and for access to the easier grind fights, or the more convenient grind fights.
That's right, and the Mysidia character check, we find a white mage and a monk.
That's not bad. Like I said before, mage parties are heavily favored, but we are wanting some black mages who can use nuke, ideally. So I don't think we'll be seeing any more physical characters for a bit unless our players find they really need one to get through the earlier mid-game seed.
Young, I kind of like him because in these flag sets because of the Sparse Treasure, because he doesn't need a whole lot of gear to be effective. He mostly scales off of his own stat growth.
Oh, we see another heavy physical attacker in the form of Sid at Castle Damsian. That's another HP sponge. Would have been nice to have started with him instead of Kane, to be honest. He wears a lot of the same heavy armor. His weapon selection isn't quite as good as Kane, though.
And it looks like dustygriff is saying yes to Sid.
Yeah, so that signals to us that Dusty is going to look to kind of breeze through the early and mid game with these physical characters to kind of carry him along, and is willing to give up a mage slot for the Zeromus battle in order to make the beginnings of the seed faster.
And it's not like Sid is bad in the late game either. He's got great HP growth for tanking, so he can be a good chemist, and he's slow enough that you can make him work as your agility anchor.
Now, Dathus went through that second Kane in order to check more of the waterway, but Dusty is not interested in sitting through that cutscene or sending the second Kane to the tower, and just gets out of that waterway straight away, showing a little bit of strategy difference between our players here. I'm thinking Dusty is not wanting to rely on as much treasure now because Sid's HP growth can carry quite a bit.
Yeah, like Sid is really good for the beginning of the game. And was that second Sid in the bed?
You know, I didn't see there. I actually got hit with an ad, if you can believe it.
Thanks, Twitch. But Dusty is getting out of Kaipo. We'll see where he goes next. And Dathus is going to keep looting the watery pass, going in the back way to get access to more treasure chests. Dusty is retreading some ground, going to discover that Yang and that Porum.
Yeah, we're starting to run out of easily checkable characters, so we can still get another one on Ordeals. I don't believe we've seen Hobbs yet, but after that, we're going to need at least a key item before we find anybody else.
Right, we haven't gone to Ordeals, we haven't gone to Hobbs. Those are the only non-gated... Oh, Baron Inn. Baron Inn has a non-gated character. So we've got 3 character checks we could still make.
Yeah, in other tournaments we've had, you find Baron Inn to be quite an early check just for players to get the knowledge. But in these table flags, a lot of our runners have been very uninterested in figuring out who's at Baron Inn until they've already checked everywhere else.
And a big part of that, I suspect, is we've got 3 characters turned on, so you're less incentivized to sit through those 2 bosses to get that character.
Yeah, that and the fact that you can only see what the first boss is, it means you don't really want to risk it until you have quite a lot more party power than starting.
And looks like Dusty is about to dive Antlion. We see the back row glitch being applied to that Sid. Kane gets a wind spear, so he won't be just flinging around that little 10 attack power stick.
Back row Sid is a beast. It's really tough to kill him.
Yes, and we have the Kaipo soldiers at the waterfall boss, it looked like.
You hate to see a free boss at such an early game position.
Yeah, and we're going to see Hobbs, it looks like.
Getting a double check here. Dusty is about to show us the Antlion boss and key item. Meanwhile, Dathus is about to show us the character here and a boss. Always nice, even if you're not going to take the character, to know what boss is out of the rotation. It's a purple robe.
And that's third Kane, I believe. No, yes, third Kane. And we've got Dr. Luggage at Antlion Cave.
Well, I don't know. It's possible to get through this small HP before he actually does his speech. Yep, there we go. Thanks for showing that off, Dusty.
And Sid just powering through with his hammers, which deal bonus damage against machines. Dathus picks up a Sid and a Porum. Decides he's going to take him. Having a white mage, always important. Porum learns some of the useful spells a bit faster than Rosa, but her late game growth is decidedly slower than our archer.
I'm very interested in this choice because Dathus at first threw that Sid away and deliberately went back to go and get him, but now has taken an extra character over Dusty as well. It's very crazy to see what our players in these table seeds prioritize because we have seen quite a number of runners actually get underground with only 2 characters in their party in order to keep their options open for as long as possible.
Yeah, we've definitely got some skilled runners in this tournament. Antline rewarded the power shirt. That is arguably Edge's best body armor in these flag sets if all you care about is having him maximize DPS. But it's good for pretty much everyone. It's got plus 15 strength, I believe.
Yeah, just one of those things that vanilla Final Fantasy IV doesn't tell you, but here in Free Enterprise we do. Just push select on the equipment screen.
Yeah, so you got all kinds of useful information. Attack power, accuracy, evade rates, any special properties like resistances, stat modifiers, etc. And there's a dancing dagger in the free part of Troya.
Yeah, you can tell Dusty's a little hungry for some extra party power here. Checking the treasury without the Earth Crystal would usually be done if we had T Wildish on, but with our current T flag, it's very risky to waste the time to do that.
That's right, it's T Pro, so it's weighted based on location. And gated locations tend to have higher tier loot. Out of the way locations that people don't like to go to tend to have higher tier loot. Troya is unfortunately neither of those.
I don't hate those lit arrows. Sid can be quite a capable archer, and you always want some lightning element in your inventory for a couple of key bosses, most notably Kanazo.
Yeah, that's right. Depending on the location you encounter him, it might be the only way you can beat him is to use those lightning attacks to dispel the wave before you can get it off.
Dathus is about to get that power shirt knowledge, but meanwhile dustygriff is off to the next check, which is going to be the Fabul defense.
I like this. Many people have been trying to fade Fabul early game and only do it once after you've gotten access to the pan, but it's an objective, and you're still trying to find a way underground, so 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a spicy shot.
Yeah, Thor Rages and Silk Webs. You love to see it.
Thor Rage just being a great source of lightning damage for the reasons we just talked about, making Kainasa much more survivable, and depending on how tricky you feel like, you could potentially one-shot an Odin if you manage to survive until his 3rd Zantetsuken phase.
Dathus showing off some interesting tech here and actually used the power staff on his Sid in order to get some free berserk this early in the game.
Oh, it'd be by the Nope Rope over at Fabul Defense.
The Canadian Crusher, the Nope Rope, the Danger Noodle. Luckily, this spot has very little HP, so Sid and Kane should be able to get to it before the next wave.
And failing that, we've got a stack of Cure 2s that can get people back up. And if Ogopogo keeps hitting Sid for 1 damage, then yeah, this is pretty safe. And we're through.
Now that's exactly what you want to see. A nice tough lunar boss and a very low HP spot. Dusty's got to be happy about seeing that boss this early. And we get rewarded from the Fabul defense with a rat tail. We cannot turn that in yet. You need the hook to turn it in, but Dustygriff's going to put that in his back pocket for later.
Exactly. Useful in the future, and we're seeing a Baron in check. And Todd still smells, apparently. We've got a Moon boss blocking the Quake Kid.
You love to see a Moon boss here in the front location. 400 HP only, and it's Plague to boot, so nice.
Yeah, I would not super want to see Plague specifically at this spot because he can be free in certain locations. But, you know, a free Moon boss is still a free Moon boss.
Now we'll see what the second boss is, and this is a Palom here as well. That's exactly the character we're looking for right now. It's a Shura. Ouch.
Doable. I would probably go Starbell strats instead of trying to life lock her.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have not found illusions anywhere yet and wouldn't have had the money to buy them if we had, which is really what you would like to prevent that. Assure's going to one-shot your mage and potentially even Kane. Sid's the only one who's going to be able to take a few punches here.
Yeah, Starbell strats with Sid might be able to get through this, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, but we're getting down now. Cave Magnus and Ordeals are your only other choices if you nope out of this Baron Inn. And we see Dusty is about to show us. We'll see if it's going to be just the character check or if he's going to go all the way to the summit.
The summit check, time-consuming. Good if you've got Towa, good if you've got Cecil, but otherwise it's kind of slow.
Well, we find Iridia. There's another nuke-capable black mage. Her HP growth is pretty bad, but she has other uses as well if you can find some good summons along the way.
That's right. With stealth shenanigans, you can definitely keep your party going during the early to mid game without having to spend a whole lot of resources. It's just that animation time you have to worry about.
Yeah, Dusty's going all in on this this coin flip Baron Inn versus the Ordeals, and Dathus is leaving now. Did not get through that Ashura, going to Ordeals instead. I don't blame Dathus for this. That even if he could have gotten through that battle, it would have been an immense time sink, and better just come back later when you're a little stronger.
Yeah, and we see Starbell strats being employed against Bahamut here. The spot does not have great magic power, so I will be impressed if Bahamut manages to OHKO himself. Never mind, he OHKO'd himself.
Can we just call him one Mega Flare Man?
Sure, why not?
Everybody's snake-armed captain of the guard begging here in the back attack spot. Good thing we got a back row glitch Sid here to soak a lot of hits.
Yeah, this isn't bad. This is a physical boss spot with a physical boss. The vampire spells could be a bit annoying because they inflict sap, but I think he's got this. It'll just take some time.
Yeah, just gotta wait, make sure and watch, make sure your Sid doesn't get too low, and should be able to get through here pretty much no problem.
No, yeah, if Kane also continues to take just one damage, then just do some chemistry to avoid getting taken down by those vampires and you're set.
And Dathus isn't going to be helped out too much here. His Porum doesn't have a lot of the great white magic spells yet, but even a rogue Cure 1 should be able to help out in that bag and fight coming up.
Worst case, you can take a hit. Emphasis on a hit.
When you're hoping for the 5-year-old to get punched in the face, that's when you know it's bad.
That's a nicely timed jump out of Dathus to protect the Kane without burning the third Starbell.
That's very heads up. Make sure everybody gets experience, and you don't have to waste that very valuable item.
Yeah, and we see Cure 2 come up for that Porum, so she's significantly more useful now.
Get those levels on your mages, folks. It's really important. Oh, she lived! She took a hit.
So proud of her. And dustygriff is through that Beigen fight.
Yeah, this Beigen's pretty fast on Dathus' screen. Got to quite a few punches off before anybody got to take any action, so Dathus resetting out of that.
Did he save on Ordeals? Oh no, I don't think he did.
Oh, that's a negative. So now has faded Baron Inn, has faded Ordeals, going Try number 3 here, Cave Magnus. It still could pay off.
Oh, there's our hook. That could be our way underground.
Oof, if that's the only way underground, then Dathus is going to be punished heavily for fading ordeals now.
It would amuse me greatly if the rat tail led to the magma key.
Oh, I mean, at this point, check your freebies is often repeated in the community for a good reason, right?
Right. Well, looks like we're just looting in Troya. We're not actually going to go challenge Cave Magnus yet. And Dusty's Tellas have learned all their spells. His Cecils are now paladins. So, more inclined to take those characters, I guess. Cecil's all going to be complicated because of vanilla agility.
Yeah, and in these flags, we really, really want Tella. So if there's no Tella at Dwarf Castle or the Moon, our runners are going to have to make some big decisions about how they want to actually gain levels in this seed.
That's right, because sirens are not easily accessible with these flag sets. You can find them in treasure chests. You can potentially find them at Kokol's shop. You cannot steal them.
Yeah, and we do have Sid and Kane who can both wield Ogre axes, so we might actually be in for an Ogre grind today instead of a D-Machine grind if we can't find a Tella.
Alright, dustygriff has taken the hovercraft. Looks to be heading towards Silvera.
I'm definitely rooting for some big Mac Giant grinds now.
Oh, Rattail is required.
Well, good thing Dathus is about to get it then. That's gonna be nice. That's a free pickup, and that's another character check. So I can guarantee Dusty will be at least, if it's a Tella there, that's gonna be quite the exuberance.
I am slightly curious if either of our runners will see a character they don't like in the package cutscene and it instinctively resets. But, it's an objective, so hopefully they can suppress that instinct.
Well, and that means we're gonna get to see the randomized sprite of the burning. So that is also randomized. So we're gonna see who's burning down Miss Village today.
And Silvera had life potions. That's always nice to find.
Yeah, you hate to get deep into the game and then realize you don't have life potions when half your party's dead, or you want to life glitch a D machine or something.
Yeah, and why would you want to life glitch something? What is the life glitch?
So, people are brought back in this game with HP based on their vitality stat, but enemies don't have a vitality stat. So when you bring them back to life, they come back to life with no HP and immediately die again. That all happens under the hood. You don't see it, but you do get experience twice. But life 2 or 6. Oh my gosh! Dusty resets, but it is
and he
Tella.
reset out of it. He's what? Oh, he might want to do some business and. Okay, I don't know what Dusty's doing. Like, you want that Tella?
I think he was just tunnel brain because he wanted to check what these bosses were. But oh yeah, you want Tella, Dusty. I mean, maybe just knowing that he's there is enough, and he's just gonna grab him before he actually has to grind.
I guess that's good information to have at the very least. I'm a little surprised he didn't take it because Tella is super useful this early in the game, especially because you've already completed Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it comes down to it, we have a final party that can work. We've seen Rydia, we've seen Palom, we've seen Tella. That's all. That's enough that you can get your all your spells ready for Threemus. So you just have to get to the Darkness Crystal. Now we probably will still see some party slots left empty because slingshotting those mages during the grind can save you a lot of time.
For sure. If you have 5 characters in your party, and one of your characters is 5 or more levels below the median party character level, they will get double experience until they are no longer 5 levels below. So if you have 2 low-level characters and 3 higher-level characters, you can get a double XP on multiple people and get your higher-level spells really quickly.
We found mute arrows for Sal in Miss Village. That's going to be very helpful if we find any of the mage-type bosses or even the mage-type trap chests.
We do have one mage-type boss on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, I think maybe Dathus was thinking can use those to get through that Ashura fight a little easier. We don't have a good bow yet, though.
I saw an archer bow on somebody's screen at some point, which is not terrible. That's the best endorsement I'm willing to give it.
Dusty, meanwhile, is taking on this Ashura with less characters than Dathus had. Has a few levels on Dathus, though, because Ordeals is complete. But we'll see if he can get through it.
Yeah, there we go. Mute arrows on Sid with an archer bow, and we're going to see how much quad damage against Ashura will take.
Dathus wants a rematch. We can see Dusty is being very careful with inputting commands, is trying to lifelock this Ashura, doing a pretty good job so far of it, too.
Yeah, dustygriff, very experienced runner, very technical, knows how to get things done.
For those who aren't aware of what we're talking about, the Ashura actually rotates what face is used, and if you time it right after her attack, you can actually time so that your character attacking her causes her to switch to the same face again. So she'll just be casting Life 1 constantly.
Ordinarily, she alternates between casting Life 1, Cure 3, and Cure 4, which means you can either approach her by casting Wall on her, so she'll heal you instead of herself, or you can use these tricks to bug her script and make her just keep casting Life 1 over and over again.
Kane showing the power of even the lowly Cure 2 item when you really need them.
Yeah, they're really useful in the early game, for sure. And looks like we're going to see a life block strategy from Dathus as well. And, wow, 1,400 damage from that mute arrow. That's super good. And Dusty's through. Let's see what interesting key item we find. Oh man, that's spicy.
Yeah, this is all coming up aces for Dusty here. Dusty's got the package. That's gonna be objective 2 whenever he decides to do it. And once we get underground, we already have what he needs for objective 3.
And
add into the fact that the super cannons, very quickly as well, I might add. And add into the fact that the super cannon boss is extremely easy. We can easily see our players doing it right when they get underground.
And Dusty takes the Black Mage, Dathus does not. So between the two of them, they can cast Twin Magic, but they can't do it individually.
All right, Dusty's heading back to Mist, is ready, has gotten through all the other possibilities and wants this Tella now. Dark Knight Cecil burning down the village Mist. How appropriate.
Yeah, this time he's doing it himself instead of by deploying bombs.
He said he didn't mean to burn down the village, but did he really? Now we get to fight the ye old sage here.
Who breaks through us a little bit by casting Quake. Even with all his spells, that's one thing he doesn't get access to under normal circumstances.
Don't worry, dustygriff's not stuck on the other side of the mountain. Boardface was nice enough to move your airship.
Dathus is on his way to Cape Magnus.
Wow, so we're seeing a crazy variance of strategies now from our players. Dathus is really trying to not leave any stone unturned, but is leery to spend extra time trying to fight bosses that he's already wiped to. So I can see the appeal, and it can be frustrating as a runner if you kind of get into the mindset of, I have to beat this boss, even if you're just beating your head against it. So it's nice to kind of go somewhere else, see what else you can find.
You could also be trying to play against dustygriff specifically, and by taking these out-of-the-way checks and gambling.
Yeah, as mentioned in chat, I mean, if this is a magma key, then Dathus will be, I mean, well on his way to getting underground much quicker than Dusty.
Hey, we were looking for a D-Mist a minute ago, weren't we?
You've got to be kidding me. This is the fan favorite, D-Mist hidden behind package, the rarely seen. I guess our runners are lucky that the package was a required objective, or they still weren't guaranteed to see this boss, though. They still had to go to Kaipo.
Right, so the package led to bonus round. Like you said, that is kind of the hype thing in the community, especially if D-Mist is holding some sort of blocking key item.
Yeah, if this is anything useful, this is bad news for Dathus.
Tella joins the party, unsurprisingly. And I think it's time for us to be quiet for a moment and let the spoony bard serenade us. So we've got Lufiat for the music, and we've got Mylon and Friend as the boss, and a Zeus Gauntlet was the reward from the D-Mist spot.
Yeah, so Dusty didn't get, everything didn't come up win-win-win for Dusty, but still looking pretty good. This Twin Harp really needs to pay off for Dathus.
But nothing to sneeze at with Zeus Gauntlets. They're pretty good for strength, they give you protection against giants, which can be very relevant depending on our grind choices. And the only thing they're really lacking is in magic defense. And that does mean that we now know that the boss on Mount Hobbs was Mylon's Z, because that was a purple robot there.
Yeah, so we will not be seeing, he will be Fiend not appearing in the seed with his floaty Earth self.
Yeah, he will not be sending anybody to the deep ravine.
Dusty checking the pots in the infirmary, but skipping the shop. We can see, okay, so Hook gates this location, so the treasure's going to be much higher quality than we've seen so far in the
As
seed.
with the shops, in S standard, you'd be guaranteed some tier 5 items, but this is S. Yeah, this is S Pro, so you're not guaranteed a tier 5 item here, but you can find tier 4 items for the first time in this seed.
Dusty was checking the shop, but now that he's in the cave, doesn't seem interested. I'm thinking may see the character and then save before starting to loot, and then just reset if he finds Staleman. There's a Rosa. Yeah. Wow, Dathus already took a white mage, though, so when Dathus finds this Rosa, that's going to be unfortunate.
But I suspect Dusty will take this Rosa. She has great endgame potential, although she does start out a little slower than Aura due to spell access. Key thing about her is that she does not learn Exit natively. You have to complete the power slot to get that. But we've got a Tella who can cast Exit, so that's not really a problem.
Yeah, Rosa is the darling of many a runners here because she has one of the best HP growths of any of the mages in the game, which makes her way more Zeromus viable without a slingshot.
And Dathus is through, so let's find out what Mylon was guarding here. Oh, well, it's a nice hat, but not what we were looking for.
Oof, yeah, that's a big letdown here because that's a big time commitment. Meanwhile, dustygriff does find the Stalemate chest, so now is reset, safe to check everything in here, and we get a poison axe. That's exactly what we're looking for Sid.
Especially if we are aiming to do some grinding on Mad Ogres in the upper tower of Babel. Combine that with the Zeus gauntlets, and you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, Sid just turned into basically an HP sponge into a damage-dealing HP sponge.
We've got longswords here in Evelyn. That's not bad. The best weapon you're going to find for Edge in a shop in these flags, but we still haven't found an Edge. We are on C standard, which means he is not going to appear outside of a gated location. So most likely spots left to find him are Dwarf Castle and the Moon. Potentially the Giant of Babel, but I don't think our runners are going to clear that unless they absolutely have to.
Some more information to tuck in dustygriff's back pocket too, because we did see rune rings at the armor shop. That is a great end game accessory for mages, where they can really stack on the magic defense, which is what the stat we're really most concerned with for the Zeromus fight. Meanwhile, Death is going back to check ordeals for real this time. I think that we'll have a much easier time at this point. And Dusty is looking to be chasing that same Cave Magnus. Ouch. So this is going to even up our runners quite a bit as they retrace each other's steps.
For sure, and the fans benefit from this because we get a second helping of music. And music is always pretty cool. We've got some excellent tunes in this game.
Dathus may not even need any Starveils for this Bahamut, but I think he's still going to probably use them.
If I'm Dathus, I feel like I'm super behind, so I'm going to try to not take too many risks.
What a greatly timed jump again.
Yeah, question from chat. Who was at the Rubicon spot? That was the Dark Elf. So potentially free because you've got a character who can cast Stop, or Weak, or any variety of spells that can exploit characters who don't have the boss bit.
Yeah, and with this, the overworld's going to be pretty well picked over, so we're going to see our runners dive down the hook route here very soon, regardless of what they've planned.
Right, because we've checked everything we can check at this point, and so hook is required here. There is not going to be any sort of sneaky demist at Magus Sisters to bail us out here, because we've already found the demist, and it didn't have a whole lot for us as far as progression.
Now with that encore pretty well underway, Dusty is going to get through this Mylon and Friends fight quite quickly. Going to be mowing them down. It does have high magic defense, as you saw by that 1 damage. from the spell there.
Yeah, Firebomb normally deals high fire damage to everything in the area, but we saw both runners use Firebombs, and neither was very effective due to the, as mentioned, the very high magic defense here. Usually it requires magic on the scale of Nuke in order to deal more than single digits at this spot.
Yeah, the whole shtick here in the original game was that the Dark Elf is very strong against magic, but weak against metal weapons, which is why he has the magnetic field. So the game intends for you to use your best weaponry as the counter to him once Edward starts playing the music.
Maybe they were worried about Tella doing shenanigans with tier 3 spells as well.
Dathus has gotten revenge on Baigan here and manages to get through that fight.
And so Dathus will soon be in possession of a hook, and hopefully soon afterwards a package, and maybe afterwards some Zeus gauntlets.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if Dathus decides to fill out his party once he finds that Tella.
Dusty KOs the Rosa, potentially looking for some slingshot potential. He can use the Palom also, definitely looking for some slingshot potential.
Huh, that's quite a while he's going to have to shepherd them, unless he decides to... Unless he gets a Darkness Crystal very quickly.
I mean, we know Darkness Crystal is underground, or at least gated by something underground, so it's going to take a while. Mad Ogre Slingshot, maybe? I don't know. Oh, and immediately nopes out of that ninja hat as expected.
Ooh, heads up, Save Scumming was already ready to go back into Cave Edlin.
Yeah, there's been some really heads-up plays by assorted runners in this tournament, keeping saves pretty far back so that they can just immediately reset and avoid several minutes of backtracking.
Meanwhile, Dathus is through so fast we didn't even see the battle, and we'll be getting that good news here shortly.
Dusty does not appear to be hunting for Mad Ogres, might just take on the bosses as is.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if you thought we were going to see some EXP kind of shenanigans here, trying to get some extra levels before this boss, but it looks like Dusty is feeling quite confident with the current party.
Probably going to depend on who the first boss is. That spot is very fast, has very high physical attack power for this phase of the game, so I think it's going to come down to how difficult that is before we find out if he goes and does a grind.
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of commentator's curse here, Evil Wall is one of the runner's least favorite bosses to see here at the King and Queen position.
Right, but you can't curse with Evil Wall because we saw Evil Wall in the Mist Cave. So, try again, please.
Dark Knight Cecil.
I'm on board.
Although Sid might be able to get you through that if you're quick with your healing items.
Oh, it's free.
Oh, Dusty just keeps getting rewarded.
The question is, can Tello survive long enough to cast a stone on the bosses?
Yeah, they're punching hard, just like you said.
Might be looking for size instead of stone. I suppose size is probably more reliable, but it doesn't matter if Tello doesn't live long enough to cast.
Yeah, this is just a situation where, if necessary, we'll just reset and try again and get some better luck.
Yeah. Groundflower asking in chat what jerk rolled this seed. I think you know the answer to that.
Ah, man, I'm loving it so far. I mean, did you have to give him Tella, though? Just saying.
Dusty heading right back down for attempt number 2. Probably hoping for some better luck, but we all know how board-based AI likes to target your caster.
Yeah, this is a situation where if we had a curse ring in hand, we could kind of change the party order around and do some agility shenanigans to try to get Tella a turn faster, but there's a soap web just to try to eke out whatever turns we can get to get Tella back alive.
Sid, probably the only character in this party who can actually take a hit from these guards right now.
And you can see just how much work that Silk Web's doing, too, because the whole party gets back up before the guards can start attacking again. It stacks multiple casts of slow onto the enemy.
Oh, the side spell goes off. And it connects, even better. Tella has notoriously low magic accuracy, and putting him in the center slot definitely helps. This fight is now free. We just revive our attackers, we hit the mini guards for massive damage, and we don't worry about life glitching because this is a 0 XP spot.
Yeah, definitely like this. These guards can be dealt with in a variety of ways. As we've mentioned, they do not have the boss bit set, so they can be tiny, they can be weak, they can be piggied, they can be stoned. We see here dustygriff going for a tiny and weak combo rather than stone, mostly because stone actually has a higher chance to miss than a lot of Tella's other spells.
Doesn't surprise me since it's an AoE instant kill spell. And is Dathus taking Tella? I think he might not have. I think I saw the cursor flicker over to no.
We'll see here shortly in the shop. No, didn't take the Tella yet. I'm confused because I mean, you have to. I mean, you basically have to in these flags if you have access to him.
That's right. We don't have access to Fusoya, so having a mage with super powerful spells early in the game, you really only have Tella as an option.
Yeah, and you can see here Dusty is trying to un-piggy his Tella because he needs to bring Palom back to life to get experience, but his piggy keeps missing.
This is a 0 experience spot, so I think it's more about just letting Tella cast weak to finish the fight.
Right you are. I think it may have been faster to let Sid hack away at this point. Tella is missing. And Dathus is about to turn into that Threemus, get those Zeus gauntlets. Oh, reviving the Palom, so the Palom can potentially fix the piggy status. Interesting. We're gonna get this Tella unpiggied and find out he doesn't have enough MP to weak anymore.
And he's got 49 right now, so not awful, but he's gotta keep 25 MP at some point, and it's gonna start running out soon.
You can do it, Tella. We believe in you. It's actually pretty unfortunate for Dusty because this fight could have been long over by now without that you know, kind of spare piggy hitting Tella. There's the long foretold Dark Imp there in the second position. Dustygriff rightly going up the save, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it may be a free boss, but it's still going to take a bit. Dark Elf is free, we say, because when you manage to push him into phase 2, he loses his boss bit, which means we can do his shenanigans to him. Like cast Weak, or cast Stop, or... well, those are the two main things, I suppose. You get a full heal before you start this fight, no matter who's there, so it doesn't really matter if you tent up first. So you can save 5 seconds or so, which in these races can definitely matter, because we had another tie earlier this week, didn't we?
Yeah, it's crazy. We've run so many events in this community so far. This tournament is by far, I think, the most ambitious. But also, it's the first event where we've had multiple matches with ties, which is crazy. Dathus getting the bad news that Rosa was available here. I don't know if he takes her or not. White can be used to do damage in the Z fight, but it's not ideal.
Mainly because it's slow and has a longer animation. I think you've got the form. You probably make do and not take the Rosa at this point.
We see more piggies here because Dark Elf in the first form, of course, also loves to shapeshift your characters.
Just can't keep his shapeshifting to himself.
And Dathus, once again, taking a different tactic than Dusty, does look to be checking the treasure chest here in the tower. We'll see if he gets rewarded with anything good, and of course, the Mad Ogres are going to be a heaping spoonful of experience.
He's going to need that experience to catch up, because he does not have Tellen right now. He just has Kane, he has Sid, he has Porum. So he can't cheese the Baron Guards fight right now. He cannot cheese the Dark Elf fight right now.
Oof. I have to think not going to get yeah, you just want him. I don't know what's going on here. We'll have to ask Dathus about it later. And we can see the second form of Dark Elf is free, but Dusty's still working on the first form. It's, like we said, not free is not always free.
That's right. Dark Elf in first form will cycle through casting all 3 tier 2 spells as a single action. He'll then cast Weak, he'll then cast Pig on a random party member, and then he'll repeat. And then after getting hit by an axe, he will turn into a dragon and forget how to be defended against magic.
And there comes the Silk Web to slow him down, and just trying to get Tella back up because we need him to weak this boss for maximum speed. Berserk Kane is not putting in work.
He's trying. He's doing more than Edward would.
There comes the weak, so this match is over.
50 minutes, 34 seconds. Dusty has gone through Dark Elf and will be able to get underground after these cutscenes. And we'll probably go
already.
straight to the view tower key.
Yeah, I mean, already, what a slog of an early game. I mean, there have been seeds with these flags that are almost done by now. But now that dustygriff does have underground access, it's going to be interesting to see what he chooses. He can go get the free chest in the Fey March. He can go do hitting Yang and then going to find Sheila 1. He could go check that cannon room right away, Dwarf Castle, all available. So we'll have to see what looks good to him.
I think you play the tower because you do the super cannon, you get another key item. If it's Darkness Crystal, that's go mode.
Ooh, yikes. That's a nice peek at the top boss in the tower. It's a moon boss, and we've already seen Plague and Ogopogo. So we're looking at either Pale Dim or D-Lunars. And, yeah,
Or,
I do not like D-Lunars at the top of
we
tower.
haven't seen Wyvern yet, have we?
We haven't seen Wyvern yet either, and that's always rude no matter where it is.
Yep, no matter how low your stats are, Mega Nuke is still Mega Nuke. And I was distracted by Dusty's fight against Dark Elf. Did Dathus defeat the Mad Ogres, or did he reset out?
Huh. That's a good question.
Based on hit point totals, I'm going to speculate no. And, but chat is telling me that I am correct in that he did triumph over the Mad Ogres.
Trying to, yeah, having to reset there was desperate enough to use that one Grimoire he picked up hoping for something.
Yeah, the guards are a tricky fight. Kane should be able to do okay because his jump command will not trigger either of the counterattacks. Oh, and Mom Bomb here at the Super Cannon. This is going to slow things down dramatically.
Ooh, and I was saying before, oh, the cannon fight's super easy, so you can go do that right away. Well, here's an extra 10,000 health on one of the lowest HP spots in the game. There you go. But it explodes pretty quickly. That's not going to deal too much, and these little bombs will be wiped out quite quickly. One Gaia Drum should do it here.
Meanwhile, the Grimoire on this attempt rolls Ramu. It doesn't deal enough damage when we start bringing out the quick spells using these Gaia Drums. And it looks like we're going to try and just burn them down. I think this spot only has 5,000 or 6,000 hit points, so it might be doable.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think Dathus can do it as long as he's careful. It's just going to be a hard-fought fight. But Dusty did take Dusty did take a good amount of time on this fight, though, so... Oh, one of them's dead already. This is looking, actually, like Dathus can get through this faster than Dusty did, even though he doesn't have Tele.
Yeah, and learning the hard way that you cannot berserk a character who is already Piggy status because of the hierarchy of status ailments in this game.
This is going to be close. Sid is too slow.
Don't worry, chat. We are going to ask Dathus why he did not take that Tele. I've got it in my notes for when we interview him later. And it's D-Lunars up here.
Yeah, this can... Oh. Well, never mind. We already have Quake. Forget everything I said. You really don't want to physically attack this boss because they have a nasty counterattack where they bounce viruses off their own reflect. But that will not get activated. Fire deals damage based on your total HP, so it will not kill anyone unless they're already hurt. And Palom is just going to be quaking away here for easy win for Dusty.
Unless the breath attack goes off and turns him into a silenced, confused, poisoned frog.
Yeah, I saw a snooty Cure forecast there in the front, D-Lunar, so it should be dying here quite shortly.
That's right. As a Final Fantasy tradition, healing spells and items will damage the undead. And Dathus is exiting the Tower of Babel, gonna fall back and hopefully do some recruiting.
Yeah, play this Final Fantasy side game by yourselves at home. If you're playing a Final Fantasy game, find out which boss you can insta-kill with Phoenix Downs.
Dathus buys a rune ring and looks to be going straight back in.
Tell us right there. Tella, no.
I mean, he probably has a plan. He is the People's Champion after all.
There comes the breath, but Dusty did have 2 Star Veils prepared, so manages to get the Lunars to frog themselves. Now just needs to get the rest of the party healed up, but unfortunately his Palom was one of the ones that did not have a Star Veil on.
I mean, as long as the characters stay alive, that's the important thing. Sid and King can manage this fight on their own.
Oh yeah, for sure, but for speed reasons, would have been nice to... Yeah.
Totally agree. It would be faster to turn off the frog status on your, or the confused status on your characters, but well, the dealers are down, so I don't think it matters anymore.
That's pretty good heads-up play for Dusty. He knew exactly when the breath was coming and had those Star Veils ready.
Oh, Darkness Crystal. Who wants go mode?
Oh wow, so Tower was the play for sure, and we'll see if we get rewarded from the Super Cannon as well. Wow, so Dusty could have wasted all sorts of time here in the underground and just went straight for it in the tower and heavily rewarded. This Darkness Crystal unlocks both a level grind in the form of D machines and our last spot to check for objectives. So I can imagine Dusty will be getting the heck out of here and heading to the Giant Ababil ASAP.
That's right, he has no reason to stand around at this point. He cannot do any more recruiting, he has all the characters he cares, he has all the key items he cares about, unless he really wants to try and find those 2 halves of the Legend Sword. But unless it's something obnoxious at the Pale Dim spot, I think it's going to be faster to just go up to the moon and fight some bosses.
Yeah, even if it were, say, a Wyvern at the Pale Dim spot, I think Dusty will have the tools, especially because he's going to grind first, that it's really... This is just grind as fast as you can and get there.
Oh, pass. Well, I guess we have to come back to Earth for any reason we're set.
Yeah, and since the boss that we're fighting is at the top, you don't really... You can still come back and use it, and I believe it's still faster than walking all the way down the lunar subterranean as well.
Especially if you wipe and have to make a second or third attempt. Dathus does get through those Baron guards at last, and we'll be prepping for that Dark Elf fight.
Yeah, with no Tella to weak the second half, this is gonna be tough for I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and Dusty buys 30 Ether Ones. That's a lot of Ether Ones.
Yep, and he knew that they were there from his shopping quest earlier, so was just kind of keeping that in his back pocket until he knew it was time to grind. You do need Ethers for this grind, because Tella can only cast Weak 3 times, and we need to kill more than 3 D machines, for sure.
Yeah, 10 or 11, and then apply the Life Glitch, depending on who you're trying to power up.
Okay, so you may think Dusty is wasting time here, but that's not the case. What he is doing is finding out what RNG seed he's on. He's going to be fighting battles here in the Baron area, because we have the can't run flag on, and if you try to set this up in the Giant itself, you will get killed by the other random encounters that we don't want.
So what some enterprising members of our community have done is they have compiled a step chart where if you take certain encounters and certain steps counts outside of Baron, you can predict when you're going to run into the E-Machine encounter inside the Giant. And it's super cool. It lets us do our normal cheesy grind strategies, even in a situation where the tournament admins tried to stop that by setting he can't run.
You heard that, chat, didn't you? You heard that? Some enterprising members of our community. Do you get it? Because the name of the randomizer is Free Enterprise?
You know, it's a lot harder to sneak it in when you point it out.
As expected, Dusty has actually found the correct seed very quickly, and is now heading into the Giants. Meanwhile, the unfortunate thing about Dathus and this Dark Elf fight is that your HP Sponge Sid doesn't do you too much good because Dark Elf likes to throw weaks around, which is pretty annoying.
Question from the chat, I blinked and missed go mode. We had the Darkness Crystal at the top of the tower, guarded by the Lunar Dragons. And then the pass was our reward for the Super Cannon, so we've got multiple ways to Threemus. Yes, pass with Super Cannon. No, it looks like Dathus is heading out of Upper Babel. That's real unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you just need the Tella. That's it. There's really no way around this Dark Elf with Dathus's current party and current levels. The only other way through, if he really doesn't want to take the Tella, is to fight some more trap chests. But it's pretty slow to do that, especially with no hourglasses to speak of.
Yeah, you're going to be fighting some real nasty encounters, and you're probably going to be spending most of your spare turns life-wanting your party instead of life-wanting the enemies.
Peta in chat asking what's faster, walking to the Murasame, then exiting and doing the pass, or doing the altar and then walk to Z. It's by far faster if it's the Murasame altar to exit and use the pass. Even though you have to sit through the cutscene back to Earth, you actually be surprised just how big the entire Lunar Subterranean Dungeon is. It's quite astounding for such an early game in the series.
Yeah, it can easily take 3 or 4 or even 5 minutes to go down from the top. Just the Lunar Core sequence itself can be a minute or 2.
It does look like Dathus is hunting for some experience fighting the Stalemen. A sick 4,000 hit from Kane on that Staleman, though.
Betcha he's equipped with a giant killing weapon.
Meanwhile, dustygriff may have got back attack here, but this is the fight he wanted. We're looking for the Searcher with 2 beamers. Both the beamers and the D-Machine's regular attacks deal HP-based damage, so as long as you keep your party healed up, there's no danger of dying. The turn order here we're looking for is attack the Searcher, weak the D-Machine, attack the D-Machine, life the D-Machine, in that order.
Yes, and if you mess up that order, you're going to have a bad time, because D-Machine will counter with a very strong punch, and it will KO your party members at this level.
And we like to call it board face AI because it always seems to punch your Tella.
Dathus finding quite a bit of loot in Ebon Castle, but it's not found mentioned in the way of trap chest yet.
Yeah, Dragoon Shield, quite a nice pickup. Believe it or not, both Kane and Sid can use that. It's not limited to Dragoons, and also Sid can equip shields. Did you know that? Well, you usually don't figure it out, because a lot of the times he's wielding 2-handed weapons.
Yeah, I think he only has, 2 one-handed weapons that he can use. I think the best of them was the Ogre Axe.
Yeah, Dwarf Axe and Ogre Axe.
Axe actually might be one-handed, but as you say, it's not very good. I think it's only found in shops because our default settings turn into gold when you find it in the chest. I believe it is a tier 1 item.
I don't even know what a hand axe looks like anymore.
Dathus doing some shop checks, not sure what he's looking for. Hourglasses are not going to be found at any time soon. I believe those are of a sufficient tier that they're only going to show up in Phil Call Shop.
And he's literally trying everything except taking the Tella, so he's definitely committed to not having Tella. Meanwhile, wow, if you blinked, you missed it. dustygriff actually got a triple life glitch on the D machines. I don't think I've seen that in this tournament yet.
I have enough trouble getting double life glitch with consistency, so good job for getting triple life glitch.
Yeah, so that's basically a 3-for-1 kill. So 4-for-1 actually. So that will speed up this grind significantly for Dusty.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going to take a turn off of grinding to heal up, which makes sense. Rosa doesn't have Cure 3 yet, so these fire breaths from the machine are going to wear you down over time.
Yeah, and if you forget and don't throw ethers on your Tella, and you summon the D machine with not the ability to weak it, that can get you off track very quickly.
Yeah, that's not very fun. Soma Drop makes this fight so much smoother because it lets Tella cast 4 weeks before needing a recharge.
I think Dathus just bought a ruby ring.
Interesting. I don't remember having relevant special properties. I know it has slightly different stats than... Oh, it prevents pig, okay. That is super relevant because it means you can... He bought 10 ruby rings. He wants dual-wield ruby rings.
If only this game lets you put a ring on every finger.
That's a real heads-up play. I did not remember that ruby rings can protect you from big status, which means you can comfortably berserk both of your fighters, and it will let you keep your white mage healing. That's a super heads-up play, and I'm gonna have to give him a compliment when you talk to him later.
Dusty, meanwhile, will be just about done. This could be the final D machine. And the key factor here is Dusty, by the end of the game, wants Nuke on Palom and White on Rosa. That doesn't mean he has to get it here because, of course, he is still required to kill at least one Moon boss. But that is what he's looking for, is to get within striking distance of that. Another triple.
This is why Dusty is undefeated, because he's just so good at the technical aspects of this game.
Still more D machines. I'm thinking Dusty wants to get to just crazy levels here.
I mean, he did buy 30 ethers. I've completed my D machine grinds on 10, so he's going for the long shot haul, I think.
Yeah, I feel like right now this is insurance. Dusty wants to be prepared for literally anything that could be at that Murasame altar. Now, we haven't seen a curse ring in this seed yet, so we will be looking for Dusty to kill Tella when it's time to actually end this battle.
That's right, curse rings are a tier 4 item, which means you're only going to find them in gated shops, and we've only checked one of those so far. That would be the Avalon Armor Shop.
Yeah, Dusty didn't have time to search anything else underground because it was time to go.
Cool 900,000 experience should get him all the way there.
Yeah, Dusty not too concerned about the agility level of Tella, it looks like, just leaving him up.
Yep, and we got Nuke, and there's Cure 4, there's Life 2, there's Holy.
Shh, it's white.
And I gotta go ahead and warp out. The game will not do what you want if you mix warp and doors in the Giant of Babel because of the way the warp spell and doors in this game are implemented. The short version is a door will either send you somewhere or tell you to go back to the last door you came in through, and warp spell works like go back to the last door, but all the doors in the Giant are go to this location, so warp spell and doors here kind of don't work nicely.
Yeah, and any dungeon that has a cutscene at the entrance when you're coming in or exiting won't allow you to use the exit spell. That was to prevent you from skipping required story segments.
Right, I think the most relevant dungeon for that in the vanilla playthrough is the Sealed Cave. And we're not even going to check the Hummingway shop, it looks like. We're just going to head straight on in.
Yeah, this is laser focus from Dusty, not even getting distracted by anything, even what could be a great shop here.
I mean, he has silk webs. I think he probably still has a star veil or two, so what else does he really need?
Yeah, and the stuff we'd really be looking for, like Bacchus wines, it's the reason why the mage parties have been more popular on these flags, is that Bacchus wines aren't easily available, meaning the usefulness of Berserker-only parties has been greatly curtailed.
And we see some re-equipment going on. Kane is being set up for fighting. Sid is being set up for anchoring, I suppose, because he has been taken down to his starter equipment.
And now we're about to get a look at the character that might have been.
So we could have had a reflect party here between Palom, Rydia, and Second Rydia.
Yeah, 3 Black Mage casters with Nuke can actually ensure that you only ever see one Big Bang as long as you have a good anchor. That's what you're usually ideally trying to go for with Reflect strats, but one Nuker and one Holy Caster will make do, and I believe that's what dustygriff's going to do with maybe some hits at the beginning from his physical attackers.
First, he's got to get through this Murasame altar, so let's hope for something nasty.
It would have to be nasty indeed to allow Dathus to catch up.
What if it were Gulbez, but instead of summoning the Shadow Dragon, he summoned Wyvern? Never mind, it's free.
What is going on here? Ground Flyer, what have you done? Water Hag in the required spot.
I was hyping up for something mean and we get Water Hag. It's not fair.
Chat doesn't even have time to count the hits here. Water Hag's going down.
So Dusty is officially in go mode, has his crystal at 1 hour 16. Meanwhile, Dathus is now able to get to the underground. Finally gets through that Dark Elf. And we get a life staff for our trouble on dustygriff's side, which is a very nice pickup for that Rosa.
There it is, objective 4 complete, crystal received. Dusty has the pass in hand, so is going to exit on out and head on back down to Earth to get a little save outside Troy and head on into Zeromus.
Yep, Dathus does check the top tower boss, is aware that it's the moon boss. Hopefully, for his sake, does not fade it very long.
Yeah, you would hate if that boss scares Dathus off for a bit and makes him delay on that Darkness Crystal pickup. The swag big whale to Troya. Believe us, it fits in that one tile.
Yep, I mean, it makes total sense. Why bother changing airships if you're not going to be doing much more flying?
We see 2,500 health on Rosa here for Dusty. That's extremely good positioning. It means your Rosa will survive even the toughest of big bangs and keep on healing.
So, why haven't we seen Zeromus in any of these boss spots yet?
Oh, so there's this thing. Zeromus has a very specific script, and we do not change his location because it's kind of like he's the final boss. We don't want to do that, so we leave him where it is, but we change his form, which means there's a certain question chat is expecting at this point.
Right. Let's make them wait a little bit longer and talk about how many different Z sprites we have. We've got 460 plus at this point, mostly coming from our lovely art lead Scalicity, and I believe it's time for us to ask about some kind of violence we're going to be inflicting on some part of somebody's anatomy?
Yeah, I think the exact words are usually, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? So Zeromus is going to look normal when the battle begins, but once the crystal is thrown and his true colors are revealed, we're going to get to know who we are fighting this seed.
Meanwhile, Dathus takes a trapped chest on the 3rd floor of Lower Babel, gets a power shred for his trouble. Will power his physical attacker a little bit more.
Okay, now, remember this time. Dusty is throwing the crystal at 1 hour, 19 minutes even. And see how quick this fight can be when you're using reflex strats.
Last chance to guess. Who are we fighting tonight? Oh man, you don't want this fight to take too long. You will stab your face off.
Lining up for Palom. No, Palom, don't get stabbed.
It looks like we might see a hybrid strat here with some nukes from Palom and some berserks from King.
Yeah, you know, and I didn't see any berserk curing items in Dusty's inventory, so he's either going to go all in or kill his Kane at the correct time.
Yeah, unicorns are a tier 2 item. We could find them in any shop, but I don't think we found them tonight.
Yeah, if he picked one up, it was too fast for eyes.
I mean, that's kind of Dusty in a nutshell. He's too fast.
Could you say it's the last surprise?
I was trying to figure out a way to weave that in. Good job.
Sid here is an excellent target for your Starveil because number one, he's been placed in the top spot of the party, which makes it easier to menu to him, less chance that you'll accidentally mismenu to one of your other characters. Also, the HP sponge factor. You're not going to be curing him because your cures will bounce off, and he can survive multiple big bangs before you actually have to throw a cure 3 onto him instead.
Yeah, Dathus meanwhile only does the half tower special, will not get the Darkness Crystal right now.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's probably GG, unfortunately.
Yeah, because we know everything in the underground. It might pay off with the Legend Sword and Adamant eventually, but it's going to be a lot of checks that do not pay off at all.
But never know. We could have like 10 wipes from Dusty Griff, and Dathus could find everything really quickly. I'm gonna try and hold it a little bit of hope, even if it's a long shot.
Well, we're gonna get shown the Fey March. There's a free chest in here. Could have a key item that Dathus needs to do an alternate key item spot. We are gonna need the Darkness Crystal eventually. Actually, not really. If we can get the Legend Sword and Adamant down here, he does have the pass in hand. But not gonna have a good way to grind without the Darkness Crystal, though.
Right, we don't have Sirens. And we can't get Sirens unless we forge and get lucky with Kokol's Shop. Yeah, I really don't know how you grind.
I mean, I think he had to have been planning some sort of alternate grind anyway, since he steadfastly refused Tella.
Yeah, door grind could work, but we don't have the Luca key yet. Oh, and we see Kane using items. He must have been cured of that Berserk while I was looking at Dathus' screen. Unfortunately, pops the Star Veil right before the black hole, dispelling the Star Veil.
Yeah, I believe Dusty deliberately killed his Kane and then brought him back.
Did you see the key item in the chest of Fey March? I was looking at the other screen, unfortunately.
I didn't. We'll see if our tracker picked it up.
Yeah, I don't see a key item on the tracker, so it must not have been one of those, but chat says Artemis Arrows.
I mean, it's a nice pickup. Ooh, CPU and Valvalis at the Fey March. That's not what you want to see at all.
Yeah, that is not kind.
Valvalis, I think the only way it could have been worse is if she was at the queen spot. I need to pull up the handy dandy, can you hit Valvalis at this spot calculator.
I mean, we have a Kane, so we can jump and dispel the world with a hitter. And there's the flash! 1 hour, 24 minutes, 6 seconds. Or 1 hour, 24 minutes, 13 seconds according to RaceBot. Thank you, RaceBot.
And remember that Dusty didn't even make it underground until the 50-minute mark, so this is insane. This match has been crazy. And we are already joined by Dusty Griff in the booth. Dusty, I feel like just yesterday I was congratulating you on 5-0, and now the clean sweep, 6-0.
Feels kind of surreal, but feels pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, you definitely played really well. It shows why you're one of the greats in this community.
Hey, thanks. That was it was an interesting seed. I think I did some bad stuff, but I actually feel like I did some okay stuff.
Yeah, you both struggled a bit with the overworld.
Yeah, there's some things that didn't pan out too well in the overworld, and also just like went a little slower than I wanted to. But I think it started turning around, especially once got to the underworld and kind of went ahead and moved things forward. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I did notice a lot of time kind of trying to unpiggy your Tella when your Sid was right there, could have been slashing away.
I know. I was like, it was a total. It's like you tunnel vision sometimes on what you're trying to do, and I was just like wanted to unpiggy him quickly and just do a week and be on with it. But I was like so set on that I wasn't even thinking about, oh, I could just hit them and they would die pretty instantly.
But no, I'm gonna finish my free fight in this very specific way.
In a very specific way, exactly. Yeah, I have that sometimes where I just tunnel vision on stuff.
I think we all do from time to time.
For sure, yeah. So that was a bit frustrating once I did hit it, and I was like, oh, of course I could have done this all along. But everything will work. Most other things worked out decently clean. A little frustrated at myself for not picking up Tella before I did the Azura fight as well, because I totally forgot that package was a requirement or objective. So I just like looked and saw it was Tella and said, "Oh, I'll come back for that."
Yeah,
then-
we saw you know about Tella. We're a little
Yeah.
bit confused at first.
Yeah. I was like, I'll just come back and do this later. And then as I was in the Azura fight, I looked back at my objectives. I was like, oh, I should have just done that before because I planned on doing it anyways. But anyways, I was kind of trying to put off getting Tella in case it was Tella at hook or something like that. But then I realized, well, it's an objective, so it doesn't matter. But,
Right.
Yeah.
And I bet you were excited to see that demist at the end, even if it was not a key item.
Yeah, it was. It felt pretty good. I kind of felt like Dathus would probably see it too, as long as he went through with it. But
Oof. Yeah, speaking of that, Dathus completely denied Tella. We haven't been able to figure out why yet, but he's underground and never took Tella.
Yeah, his party right now is Sid, Kane, Horum. And he just turned down Kane number 4 at Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, these flags will make you. I don't know. It kind of make you want to really think about what you want to do with your party, and some people may or may not want certain parties or may not be comfortable with them, or may have their eyes set on something. I know a lot of times when I play the scenes, I have my eyes set on what I think my party composition is going to be.
Yeah,
sort of
getting
early
fixated or decision paralysis, those can both be fatal things.
For sure. Yeah, I had a lot of that. A lot of my practices for these and some of the races. Yeah.
So you get underground. The first thing you check, since you already had the tower key in hand, is both the cannon room and the top boss, which you already knew was some sort of moon boss.
Yeah.
The D-Lunars, really heads up on that. You got the reflect off for their breath. And then you were rewarded right away with the darkness crystal. For literally the first key item you got underground.
Yeah, that felt pretty good. I was thinking that again. I would expect the way I was playing it, I was thinking, well, this may be the play that someone makes. It kind of depends what party they take down here. I felt pretty comfortable with my party. I was kind of trying to decide during the Dark Elf fight if I wanted to keep people alive or not, Rosa and Palom, and if I wanted to leave them to Slingshot later. But they're so useful when they get levels, and I knew I was likely clearing a lot of the underworld. Was the case, but I did have to play at least those D-Lunars, which having the levels on them helped and whatnot. But yeah, it felt pretty good to come out of that, and I felt like the fight wasn't terribly long, so went pretty decently.
Yeah, at the beginning of the fight, I was about to say, "Ooh, this could be, kind of tricky," but then I realized you'd already gotten Quake.
Yeah, got Quake right off of that Dark Elf fight, which felt really good.
Yeah, while we've been having this discussion, we've seen from the spoiler log that Ogopogo's location in the Lunar Core was hiding the Legend Sword, and Balbalis at the Leviathan spot has the Adamant, so that top of tower is required, no two ways about it.
Yeah, that's rough.
Well,
Yeah.
it looks like you're going to get to choose your opponents coming up once the round of 16 begins. How do you feel about that?
That should be pretty fun. I don't know how I want to treat it yet. There's obviously several ways of thinking about it. Go for as much hype as you want, or go for the matchup that you think favors you or whatnot. But I'm looking forward to it. It's been a super fun tournament so far.
Yeah, it's been pretty hype for sure, and thanks for letting us restream you tonight.
Thank you all for commentating this one and for restreaming and tracking it, and GG's to Dathus on this one.
And with that, we are back to the action. Dathus is returning to the tower now, has actually cleared out tried Dwarf Castle, and went back to grab a few things, and is now going to try this top of tower again. Has realized there's not really else. He did Sheila 1, that didn't work out, so is now getting funneled into the same path as Dusty. So hopefully we'll get through this D-Lunars pretty easily, and be ready to go do a grind, although I don't know how the grind is going to happen yet.
Yeah, I saw him pick up some Star Bells while we were talking to Dusty, so It might be that he Starveils to get through the D-Lunar fight, and then gets his Darkness Crystal and resigns himself to picking up Tella.
I mean, at the beginning, when we weren't sure that Tella existed in the seed, we were talking about Mac Giant grind. So the same thing that Dusty did to find D-Machines, you can also do to find a similar fight that has resummonable Mac Giants in the Giant of Babel. Now, the party that we had initially is available to equip giant slaying weapons, which are heavily effective versus Mac Giants. So without Tella, that would have been the grind that we probably would have seen our players going for, and I think Dathus is kind of zeroed in on that now, and he's kind of invested in doing that at this point.
Yeah, and chat is speculating about those fancy new 1200 hit point strategies for the Threemus fight, potentially. And pointing out that Palam's absence from this party is going to make this fight against the Lunar Dragons a bit more difficult than what we saw on dustygriff's side.
Yeah, I think this is going to have to be a survive until the breath. Oof. Reset. Yeah, you can see here Dusty's choice to fill out the party early definitely paid off in spades because he had Quake already here, which helped immensely, and also had a pretty leveled White Mage by this point. And we see Dathus trying again. We'll see which part of his toolkit he decides to go with here the most. And we see the Starveils go up.
Yeah, I still don't remember the exact script. I know it casts fire a few times, then attacks a few times, and casts fire again, will eventually cast breath, but I really don't learn that proper pattern.
And the key here is... There we go. There were Starveils on everybody, but it still only got one of them. There's a second breath that doesn't come out because that D-Lunar is now a frog. That's a really bad luck for Dathus here. And that's unfortunate because we really need that second D-Lunar to also be frogs.
Right. Well, let's see. The frog that is hit is the one that casts the counter wall. So now we've got the second D-Lunar just spamming virus on frog, and then once the frog is down, we'll be down to one D-Lunar. And at that point, it just counters everything with fire. So we might still be able to come through this.
Yeah, I don't know. Those berserks start coming out, and this is going to be hard to keep up with when the fires start coming out.
Yeah, because it will counter every action with fire. And you've only got the one healer. On the other hand, with only 3 characters, you're not taking as many actions as somebody like dustygriff with a full party would.
And this is going to be tight for sure. I am very worried right now for Dathus here.
And the still not a frog Lunar Dragon is doing its bit to help out by casting some weak viruses onto the frog.
Okay, this is the moment of truth here. The jumps will not be, won't activate any script that's not the same as physical attacks, but if we get nice Cure 2s like that every turn, it is possible here.
Sid's down. And the counter fire from that heal. Oh, didn't counter the heal. Interesting. Did counter the start of the jump though.
Yeah, it's gonna cast fire every turn now, so it's really just a matter of can you keep up with it, and of course keeping your cane in the air is gonna help you because then your heals go farther.
Right, if Kane is getting missed by every other fire, then that's less healing you have to do, and his hit points will last for longer. But we're through. We're about to get our Darkness Crystal. We're about to get our Go mode. We're gonna see what Dathus does to clear out this seed.
Yeah, I'm gonna call that a bravo. You really got to hand it to Dathus there at using every tool at his disposal to get through a fight that he really wasn't equipped to take right now, and also the bad luck of both of the dragons not getting hit by the breath. That is very nice to be still able to get through that battle. And I think you're right. With the Darkness Crystal in hand, Dathus really has no choice but to get that Tela at this point and fill out the rest of his party.
Yeah, I would put money on him going straight to Mysidia, not just to raise the Lunar Whale, but also to figure out who his 4th and 5th party members are going to be.
Yeah, the good thing though is if he takes Palom, that means the rest of his party has gained some levels, so his Palom will be able to be slingshotted, which will make his grind a little bit shorter.
Very true.
Seems a good spot to remind everybody that this stream today is brought to you by our restreamer Groundflyer. Customarily, the restreamer is also the one who rolls the seed, so you can thank him for this excellent overworld slog today. Commander Leonhardt is doing our tracking as well for both the key items and the objectives, so thank you, Commander Leonhardt, pushing all the buttons. And, of course, thank you to Randomania for being one of our 3, basically, channels we're doing this tournament on. They've helped us with quite a few other events as well, from here on Randomania Prime. You can see us on Randomania 2 or 3, depending on how thick our schedule is. And, of course, my co-commentator tonight, Pixel Tamer. Thank you for joining me here.
Yeah, it's been fun. Welcome to our friends from the Free Enterprise main channel. Hope you enjoyed your race. Please do not spoil what you've just seen. We might have people who want to go back and watch the VOD. If you do want to talk about the race you just saw, we do have a lovely spoilers channel on our Discord that you could go and chat about it in there.
To get you all caught up on this race, of course, Dathus just received the Darkness Crystal from the top of the Tower of Babel, and is now going to fill out his party before his D-Machine grind. Just has to get this grind done and check the Murasame altar, and will be on the way to Threemus himself.
And it's taking it young. He's going to go full berserk, I'm imagining.
He does have 2 sources of berserk, so this is doable. This is the first time I've seen actually a berserk party used in table flags.
Yeah, like I brought up earlier that Yang is decent because he does not require equipment. He scales almost exclusively on his own stats. So just get him enough levels, he can survive a Big Bang, he can hit reasonably hard, and yeah.
We did see one Soma drop used on Tela that increases the amount of weak spells he can cast before needing more MP by 1. It costs 25 MP. Tela has 90 MP usually. That gets him to 100, so he can cast a full 4. Dathus does have a stack of either ones already as well, so looks pretty prepared. I think probably looking to find perhaps life potions again, or maybe some cure 2s or 3s, something.
Yeah, we know life potions are over in Silvera.
There comes the save and the reset to set up the RNG seed in the same fashion as dustygriff did earlier. And we'll see how many fights it's going to take Dathus. If I remember correctly, Dusty got it very quickly.
Yeah, Dusty took a reset after the first encounter he saw. I guess didn't like the random seed he was rolling up on, but I got it on the second one, I believe.
Once again, if you're joining us and kind of don't know how this goes, Dathus is basically learning what RNG seed his game is on right now by fighting these battles and counting the steps in between them. And once he's at the correct spot in the RNG, he's going to turn battles off, go to the giant Ababil, and then turn them on in the correct room to get an infinitely repeatable enemy encounter.
And from there, he will go ahead and do his grind, get 800 to 900,000 experience on his primary party members, double that on his new acquisitions because of experience boosting, and then probably go straight to the moon to defeat the boss of the Murasame altar, which we know to be free, and then go straight to Threemus.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the weird surprise once you get up to the moon and get that free water hag.
Dathus may be doing some shopping, not sure what he's looking for. Subwebs, perhaps, which I think we've found here in Fibble. Oh, Thor Rages might be worried about a potential Kainatsu, or is going to use these to deal 1 damage to the Searcher in order to summon more D-Machines. Please don't forget your ship, you kinda need that.
Here comes that nice, long, giant cutscene, which, gosh, at least it doesn't do all the explosions, so Boardface has given us a little bit of reprieve here.
That's right, many of the cutscenes in Free Enterprise have been significantly shortened from their original versions or removed entirely. Although part of me wonders what the Fabul defense cutscenes would look like when we're fighting something that is not just the Fabul Gauntlet. Or if we were fighting the alternate Gauntlet where we had 5 encounters instead of 6.
Oh, that would be great.
Defeat the last encounter, retreat into the Crystal Room, and then suddenly you warp over to the King. Like dustygriff, we get a back attack spot here, but this looks promising. We've got a Searcher and 2 Beamers. This is most likely going to be that D-Machine I'm looking for.
Yeah, this is. It would be very unlikely for this to be the other fight that looks the same with the robot centaurs. The fact that you could get the fight wrong but get the RNG right to get the wrong fight is pretty unlikely. Yeah, and we're going to see here again, the same as Dusty. We're looking for hit the Searcher, weak on the D Machine, hit the D Machine, and then Life Potion as much as you think you can get in before it dies.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder to do the double or triple life glitch because we don't have mages to buffer actions. The easy way to do double life glitch, and I emphasize finger quotes around easy, is to start casting Ice 2 or a similar spell, queue up a life potion, and then as Ice 2 starts casting, queue up another life potion. And that timing can be a bit tricky to work out at first.
It looks like Dathus does have a good rhythm here. The Cure 2 is going to have to... We're going to have to wait in between summons at some point because the Cure 2 is not really doing as much work as we need it to do. But otherwise, it's going to be a pretty standard D-Machine fight. And we should point out that we were talking about how important it was to slingshot those mages when Dusty was doing this grind, but that Yang is initial level, so he's going to get slingshotted instead, and like you've been saying this whole match, Yang doesn't require equipment to be great, so he's going to be hitting quite hard in the Threemus fight, and he's going to have a solid chunk of HP as well.
Like, Yang benefits from equipment. I would totally slap a power shot on him in a heartbeat. But that's just icing on the cake compared to a high-level Yang. And I would not be surprised if we see Tela drop out a Cure 3 or a Cure 4 to patch up the party between these D machines here.
Wow, right on it. Oof. Not even 400 points of healing from a Cure 4. That's, thanks, Tela.
Yeah. Tela tries his best, but he is significantly hindered by his low stats. And he doesn't really get much in the way of stat growths either. He's great if you're casting Cure 4 on a single target, because it will always fully heal, but not so much if you're doing multi-target spells, or attack spells, or anything that is not utility magic.
Yeah, it's a funny fact that most people know about Final Fantasy IV by now, that some of Tela's stats actually go down as he gains levels.
Is that true in all versions of the game? I thought that was mostly a meme, honestly.
I believe they changed it for later versions, the ones where you can get characters back and like change your final game party. But they also changed the stat growth for pretty much every character in those releases. But for the Super Nintendo, yeah, he loses some stats. There's just some weirdness because Final Fantasy IV was never intended for some of these characters to get the levels that they do, which is like, for instance, why Yang stops gaining HP after a certain level. He just doesn't gain anymore. It's like hard capped.
Right, and at the same time, it's really curious that the twins have a full spell progression, given that it's extremely unlikely you'd get them above level 20 before they leave the party in the story.
Yeah, you're like, who taught this 5-year-old Nuke? What?
And, like, considering the storyline importance of Medio and what Tele goes through to obtain it and cast it once, Palom just casually learns at level 50.
Does Palom, like, get older whenever he casts Medio? Because that would be weird. Meanwhile, we get Edward, who is mostly lampooned as, you know, he is a champion in the vanilla speedrun, but not very useful unless we can get a spoon for him in Free Enterprise. However, Edward's stats become some of the best in the game if you get him up to level 70 and above.
Right, but in this stage of the tournament, the spoon is not very helpful for that Edward.
Oh yeah, we were a little mean and turned it off, so Eddie is not the character you want to start a match with anymore. We got a question from Dragon Lord Carter in the chat. Does Kidia have the same thing with the Spellist, or is all the good stuff blocked by adults? The only stuff that's blocked for Rydia, if she never grows up, is the second level, like, black magic. So she'll never learn, like, Fire 2, Ice 2, Lit 2. But, or of course, Fire, because she doesn't learn Fire until you get through Mount Hobbs. But she still will learn Virus, all the utility spells, Meteor, Nuke, all that jazz.
Right. Her summon pool is a little bit restricted if you do not have her grow up, though, because she will not learn the mid-tier summons. She can still learn Leviathan, Bahamut, Odin, all the really powerful stuff, but the only way to get Titan, for example, is to have her grow up. Unless you get lucky with the free summon on Mount Hobbs, that is.
I just want to know who in the vanilla game actually figured out that you could get the low tier summons as enemy drops and actually farm for those.
Well, I know some of those are dummied out in the North American version, so I assume it was some clever Japanese player.
There was probably an Ultimania or something that told you about it.
But we did have a request to talk about, no, Edward's stats, not his strategies, never mind. We could talk about some of the shenanigans that you can get involved with it with Edward and abusing Hyde to avoid Big Bang. Turns out if you go 10 pixels off the screen, the huge catastrophic attack just doesn't affect you. And that enables some cheese.
Big Bang's kind of the granddaddy of the overwhelming, kind of crazy Final Fantasy final boss attack. You know, like it's the direct predecessor. There's a direct lineage there from Zeromus's Big Bangs to Sephiroth's Supernova.
Yes, Big Bang is also used by one of the super bosses in Final Fantasy X-2. The Zeromus Esper in Final Fantasy XII naturally uses Big Bang as its ultimate ability. One of the optional bosses in Lightning Returns uses Big Bang. Final Fantasy Tactics A2, again, Zeromus uses Big Bang. And it does show up from time to time in various games, usually associated with Zeromus, and usually or with some sort of super boss.
I think if you use Zeromus's attack, you should have to use his theme song too.
I have no objections to that.
49 levels in one battle on that Yang. That's some beefiness. We can see almost at the HP cap. Yang never gets more than, I believe, 6,000 HP. He's got 5,800 right now.
Which is plenty in order to deal with that Zeromus. He can take 2 or 3 Big Bangs, no trouble.
Dathus also dodging the deadly didn't turn encounters off boss. Manages to remember to turn those off before running out of here.
Yeah, in one of my races earlier in this tournament, I warped out of the Giant, forgot to turn encounters off, and then ran into something in, I think it was Magnus Cave, and it was just annoying. And I was watching the VOD later, and the commentators were calling out, hey, he didn't turn off encounters, this could go really badly. And fortunately it didn't.
Sometimes you do get lucky. Dathus now, all the EXP necessary in hand, and we'll be heading up to the moon. I'm thinking we'll take a little nap on the whale at some point before going up there. But we'll be finding that second Rydia, who will not be doing anything for us this match. And also finding the free boss on that top altar.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ask what he thinks of that water hag. But as we can see, this is a very different party for Dathus compared to dustygriff. We're going to be relying primarily on physical damage to deal with Threemus. And that means we are going to have to do the HP refill. We will see phase transitions. We do see some gear getting moved around, getting a power shirt on Young, give him even more strength, give him even more attacks. Zeus Gauntlets too, he is just going to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, you like to see Cat Claws, and you like to see Zeus Gauntlets, anything that raises Young's strength, because his damage is directly related to a strength stat, which is true for all characters, but even more for him.
Right, Young's weapons do not have any attack power of their own. His damage scaling is based entirely on strength. And the way that he gets more powerful, for the most part, is this applies to every character, but the more strength you have, the more attacks you make when you execute a fight command, and those damage multipliers just start to rack up. Also, unlike dustygriff, Tella is still at base level for Dathus, so that will make the agility situation a little bit simpler.
Yeah, this is double good because Dathus needs a slow Zeromus more than Dusty needed a slow Zeromus, because he's going to be fighting a longer Zeromus battle, and Zeromus is going to get more big bangs. So ideally, Dathus can get Berserk up on all 3 of his physical attackers, and that will allow his party to be taking lots of turns for every Zeromus turn. The battle system, I don't want to say gets confused, but Berserk is a 0 delay action. So what that means is your character makes the command as soon as they're able to, literally the same frame they're able to when their ATB comes up. And 3 characters doing that at the same time can vastly delay Zeromus' turn, because he can't gain ATB while he's waiting for his turn to go. So you can kind of, I don't want to say fool the ATB system, but you can play it a little bit so that he gets way less turns than he should by the numbers.
Yeah, I like to think of it as overwhelming the system by just filling the action queue with so many attacks that it just prevents Zeromus from getting his turn in.
And the more Berserkers you have, the more effective it is. So Dathus is going to have 3. If we had 4 for the almighty Quint Zerker, it basically makes it so Zeromus can't really get a turn in super well. Of course, we only have 2 sources of Berserk because there's no Bacchus Wines to speak of. So it's going to be hard to keep them all Berserked once the black holes start coming out, but I feel like Dathus can do it here. The only character that's in trouble from a fully damage rolled Big Bang is his Porum, which unfortunately, she's the one you want to stay alive the most because she's going to be healing the party up.
Yeah, this is the drawback of Porum, is she has low hit point growth, and that can be a liability in the late game, because she will not survive an unnerfed Big Bang. So you're going to have to nerf every single one if you want to keep that Porum alive with consistency.
Yeah, hope those counter nukes hit like your Sid or your Yang, somebody who can take it. And then, just because you're right, a fully rolled Big Bang, in order for white mages to be considered kind of safer, most players want them to have somewhere in the range of 2200 HP. And I mean, Porum has to be like level 60 and up to get that. So, yeah. It would have been a few more D machines for sure, and I don't think Dathus wanted to do that.
Yeah, Edward is in a similar situation. I know a runner who really likes to bring Edward into Zeromus at a level where he can survive, and that usually means mid-60s, low 70s, in order for him to actually have enough hit points to take a Big Bang and not fall over.
But with this, however, Dathus has gotten into go mode, has the crystal, has 3 objectives complete, has parked the lunar whale outside Troya, and will be using the pass here to find this boss.
Yes, will the Tonberry win, or will Dathus prevail?
Now, dustygriff's Zeromus fight took about 6 minutes from when he threw the crystal to when it was over, and he only had 1 character that could cast nuke. So it was not even as fast as reflect stats could be. So pay attention when Dathus throws the crystal and when Dathus' fight is done, and you'll see kind of the average difference between, an okay reflect strategy and an okay Berserk strategy, because neither one of these players were perfectly set up how they'd like to be. They just kind of had to take what the seed gave them on it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. With T-Pro set, a lot of our runners have been having to make do with equipment that they would not really like, and we see a reset. Maybe not happy with some of the equipment choices. Yeah, Kane, back row, very important. Surprised to see the Charm Claw on Yang. That does have poor accuracy, but maybe we're just hoping to have enough attacks and enough levels to just not care.
Dathus fooled the direct path, foiled by the town lady, one of the most infuriating NPCs in the game. I don't know what's chat. Tell us who gets in your way more, the lady at the Troya entrance or the old woman in the Kaipo shop?
I want to throw out a nomination for the Wandering Dwarves in the lobby of Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, they can't fool you.
Here we go. Tonberry must take 2. Or take 1, because I don't think we even threw the crystal the first time.
All right, looks like Dathus is ready this time, and we'll be throwing that crystal with. Oh, has one Silkweb too. Always good to make sure you keep one of those for Zeromus, especially when you're using Berserk strats. It just lets you get so many turns in.
As mentioned earlier tonight, it does apply 2 stacks of slow to all enemies, and everything in this game is susceptible to the slow spell, so just makes fights go more smoothly.
Yeah, I'd say Final Fantasy IV, some Final Fantasies get a bad rap from status effects not really working on bosses, so you're kind of like, well, what's the point of status effects? The regular enemies are too weak for me to bother, and they don't work on any of the strong enemies. But Final Fantasy IV, as we see, is not that way. The time spells work on all bosses, and a lot of the other spells work on a ton of bosses, too.
Yeah, and it's interesting also that even at high levels, there are enemies that are susceptible to status ailments, and it can make those fights a lot easier. So it's not just a matter of, oh, I'm super powerful, I'm going to steamroll the last dungeon. It's like, no, sometimes you want to cast Mute on those warlocks so that you can have an easier fight.
Yeah, and the vanilla game sort of tries to make you make this realization with Sylph Cave. It says, hey, here's some damage floor where you can float and then it doesn't damage you. Then it gives you a bunch of battles with lots of enemies that are really annoying but are susceptible to certain status ailments. So you kind of learn, oh, I can use this to my advantage as well. I don't always have to be the one getting the status effects thrown at me.
There's our first big bang, as expected. Low with Hella falls over, takes a nap. Somebody's got to tank that floor.
And it's actually good that Tella dies here because, as we mentioned earlier, your white magic spells are split between your party members. So if you have less party members alive, your heals are better. Oh, 4,000 damage for Yang Swing. That's pretty darn good. Kane is also putting in some work. Sid's bringing up the rear here on the damage.
Yeah, he's got the hit points. I think he's the most likely to fall into a supporting role if we aren't able to maintain Berserk on all 3.
Yeah, we'd really like for Kane to stay alive after this big bang, but Dathus has been being cautious and not using his Porum's turn yet to fully heal.
That could backfire because this big bang looks like it's not going to be nerfed, and if Forum falls over, we're going to have to hope that everyone else survives until that black hole turns off Berserk.
You know, we've had about 6 rounds of the party since the last Big Bang. I think he did enough damage to skip one.
Very possible. For those who may not know, Threemus have 3 phases in the encounter, and when you trigger a phase skip, or phase transition from reaching certain hit point totals, that changes his battle script, and as such, you might not have a Big Bang that was about to get queued up actually happen.
Yeah, and the way you know it happened was he shook, but then he didn't cast either Big Bang or Black Hole. He didn't do anything. But here is finally another Big Bang. We'll have to see how the party handles it.
Forum survives. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, looks out Porum survives, and with these Berserks still up, I'm thinking we may see the 3rd phase here any moment.
That's right. 3rd phase, Threemus is very weak at this point. He resorts to casting Meteor over and over again. Rocks are falling. Threemus is about to die.
Yeah, it'll take just probably 1 more, maybe 2 more Yang attacks, and this will be over.
And there's the flash.
Oh, and the white cast.
The swag white is not necessary.
GG's to Dathus with a time there of, let's see what the official time was, 2 hours and 8 minutes flat.
And we are joined by Dathus. GG, well played. Thanks for sticking it out. I am still cheering for you as the People's Champion.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings. Thanks, that was one heck of a seed that was rolled up.
Dathus, the number 1 question on all of our minds is, why were you so committed to not taking Tella?
I didn't know if or when we'd find the Darkness Crystal. He has he's great for what he is, and if I'm gonna slingshot someone and I know it's gonna happen, he's absolutely fabulous. I didn't know if I could find the Luca key. I didn't know if Darkness Crystal was gonna be completely in play. It could have been behind where the Valvalis and the CPU. Thankfully, that was not it. So I went with what I'm like, I can go through this with these characters and I should be perfectly fine. Tella, at least I know where he is, and that's the important thing. My grind is secured if darkness is found.
Right. Would you like to know what Valvalis was holding on to?
Oh, I've seen the spoiler log. I know she has the adamant, and
Yeah.
I know where the legend sword is. Fun fact, that's Golbez.
Golbez for Legend Sword, wow.
Yeah, no, that magic spot is nothing to scoff at. No thanks. That can stay there.
Yeah, I don't blame you whatsoever. But that does mean that those annoying D-Lunars were required, unfortunately.
Yeah, not the worst sparkle that could have been there. As you saw, I'd put my battle speed down anticipating Wyvern, because why wouldn't it be? I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Groundflyer may be mean, but he's not Scalacady or Aska levels of mean.
Oscar's seeds aren't that bad.
Speaking of those D-Lunars, I think you did a really amazing job working with what you had to get through that. I think it would have been really easy to fade it some more and go somewhere else. But a little bit of bad luck that the frog didn't go on both of them. But you made it through pretty well. You knew exactly how the fight was going to go once you got it done.
Yeah, the annoying spot is the magic stat there is fairly low, so the shot that both of them were going to get hit from one frog was pretty bad. I was banking on each D-Lunar to frog themselves, but no such luck. So I'm like, okay, I have to just have Kane jump the back row, Sid berserk because why not, and he should be fine. And he's like, the front one? You want me to hit this one? No, not... Okay, buddy, just keep doing your thing.
One really heads-up play that I really liked from you that I want to call out is your Ruby Rings to get through the Dark Elf more easily. I, for one, forgot that they can protect against Pig, so I thought that was really cool of you to take advantage of that and make that fight a little easier.
Yeah, it's nice knowing different... Like, basically, Evelyn was like, hey, this is what your two fights underground are going to be. You want these. I'm like, I saw the rune ring. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to need this. I've already dealt with Asura. The guard fights are probably somewhere else. And there's the guards. It's just like, Okay, fine. I will go back and buy these. I probably won't need the ruby ring because I don't know. I've never fought Dark Elf there. I now have a new boss I never want to see there again. That was so many turns, even after fixing my anchor and not having it with that incredibly fast cane. Never again do I want to see that there. That may be the worst thing I've seen there. I will take Evil Wallet King Queen Eblin before I see that there again.
Some people were hoping for that, but we found him at the Mist Cave.
Yeah, he gets to relax in a nice spot that we won't deal with him.
Let's see. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. It's not coming to me. If it's important, I'll remember.
The blessings of slingshotting Yin Yang, though, him doing the equivalent of damage of a Crystal Sword Cecil and Zeromus is always fun to see.
Yeah, I like Young in the flags where there's less gear because he doesn't really need it. And then you slap a Zeus gauntlet and a power shirt and some claws on him, and he just does good work.
Yep, I looked at Sid and went, yeah, I like you, buddy, but you did some work. But now it's Yang's turn to finish the seed off. He gets to bring it home. Also, there were some choice words for that water hag at Mirasame altar.
Yeah,
I was hoping.
That's the thing I was going to ask.
I'm like, let's have a fun boss here. Give me something to put all this power overwhelming to, and it's water hag. If it had been Dark Imps there, I would have cursed just as loudly because I had the
you had the
hourglasses. I'm like, just whatever. I'm like, give me something not free. Make it at least entertaining at the bit. No, okay. Thanks for finishing it up, buddy.
I mean, I was rooting for Golbez, but then we got there and it was Water Hag, and I felt a little deflated.
Now, looking forward, Dathus, you are 0-3 now, and you pretty much need to go and get 3 wins to stay in this. How do you feel about your last 3 races remaining?
I feel a lot more confident about those. I did do this a little bit by design. I did put my most difficult, in my opinion, opponents, Dusty, Zilch, and Baka Shinobi. And Zilch and Dusty are fantastic runners. Dusty, I believe he did, during the Fabul Gauntlet, he did every character solo with those flags. So I knew if I took him, it would have been by sheer luck. But the man, he's got great execution. Zilch, fabulous runner, such great knowledge of the game. Baka Shinobi, I've seen him run; he's great. Every one that I drew, I just looked and went, "Wow, I pulled a very short straw." But I'm still fairly confident. 3-3 is not unrealistic. 4-2 is 2-4 is where I'm aiming.
Right. It sounds like nowhere to go but up.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts before you sign off?
No, just want to say thanks everybody for running the behind the scenes stuff. Commander Leonhardt for tracking. Ground Flare, you're here. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for that. That was great fun. Motos and Pixel Tamer, thanks for the commentary. I'm excited to watch back the VOD and see how you guys did.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, thanks for letting us restream you.
Always a pleasure. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, you too. So that is the last race we're restreaming tonight. We are going to send you over to X Pancraz, who is practicing. And we don't have tomorrow's restream assignments yet, but stay tuned to the Free Enterprise Discord, stay tuned to the Free Enterprise Twitter, and that information will become available when it's ready. And as a reminder, please do not talk about the outcome of this race outside of our spoilers channel. There could be people who want to watch the VOD later and catch up. And yeah, I've been Pixel Tamer, I've been joined by Motos, we've had Ground Flyer and Commander Leonhardt behind the scenes, and I've got raided away. So